as a small business owner, one of the biggest hurdles when you're starting out is developing a great marketing brand promise. Should I be hiring an outside vendor to do this? Should I be doing all this marketing myself? And when it comes to brand promise, what am I really talking about? Am I talking about the product that I'm selling? Am I talking about me as an individual? It can be very confusing. Well, today's guest, Eric Thomas, he's the CEO and founder of Rival Digital, and his company focuses on helping small businesses with this issue, developing a brand promise, really understanding the core values that this company has, and then communicating that with customers in order to generate opportunities to sell their products and services. As he talks about, it's really about creating content to connect with the consumers, to start developing a relationship with them, not just hitting them with another ad. So I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. He delivers very tactical advice, helping out small businesses. So if you're listening today, make sure you have your pen and paper out so that you can take notes. So let's dive into today's episode of You're in Charge, Now What? With Eric Thomas from Rival Digital. Okay, so Eric, first off, glad you came, and I'm really excited to chat with you because you handle a big need for many businesses, especially small businesses. It's this concept of we all need to market, but as a small business owner, you don't know, one, should I be doing it myself? Should I hire somebody? What should I be doing if I have limited budget? So I thought I'd bring you in because you really serve that really well. So let's start right off. I'm a small business owner. I need to market. Should I be doing it myself, or should I be looking for a cost-effective way to hire somebody to help me?
Yeah, so I would really just take a step back and see what stage of business you're in. Are you just getting started, like right now out of the gate, you don't have anything set up, you don't have a Google business profile set up, you don't have a website set up, you don't have a Facebook page set up. So I would kind of inventory what you have already and what you are capable of doing yourself. Because, there are a lot of things that small business owners are very capable of doing themselves. They can set up a Google business profile. They can add images and add posts to it. They can add images to their Facebook page, but they might not be able to build a website, a nice website. They might be able to set something up on Wix.
Right.
That certainly can't scale with the business. So you might want to think, okay, I can handle the Facebook and the, responding to reviews on Google, but I might need help with the website. Or you might want to set aside a budget based on, what your goals are, and then just have someone do all of it if you're able to afford that.
Right. So I like that idea of inventorying, and I also like that idea, and I think it's really a great place to start, is really understanding where you are. So let's take both of those. If I'm brand new, like you said, I'm just starting out, and you serve the HVAC community a lot and other small businesses. So if I'm just starting out, I don't have any of that, but I'm building my business. Is it building the Google business profile versus a website, even just to start, so I have a landing place? Is that a place that we should start right off the bat?
Yeah, I would make sure that you focus on building. One, don't build your house on rented land. That's kind of like the theme that I say to all the contractors I work with. A lot of contractors, they want to dive in head first immediately into running Facebook ads and Google ads and doing all these things on platforms that could be taken away from them tomorrow. Like we saw in October, Facebook went down for 6 hours and the whole world stopped. And those people who had built all of their, digital equity on Facebook were like, oh crap, now I can't reach consumers. So I think when you're first starting off, first you got to focus on building up the things that you own, your email list, like your customer list. That's something that you own. If Facebook and Google go down, you can still send out emails.
Right.
making sure you have a brand, not just taking a stock logo off of somewhere and saying that that's your logo, but like actually investing in some form of brand identity. And then from there, I would say, yeah, you want to make sure you have a place for people to contact you. You have a nice website, or even just a Facebook page or a Google business profile page. When you're first starting out, if you need a place to send people to.
Right. Well, I see. So again, what I love about what you're talking about, and that's the point of this show, is really to help people with tactical advice. And so I like that idea of rented land. And I think we all take it for granted, some because we've been in business, or in my case, I've been in business for a while and you're in business and we're just already moving. But if you take a step and go back, I agree. I think every business, if you're really going to be a business, create a website. There are so many inexpensive ways to accomplish, even if you're just creating a website with one page on it that talks about who you are and here's a contact us form. You're starting to build your own building. And that's what I really like, that idea, building my own building. What do I control? An email list for my customers, then all of the other platforms, if you look at them as those are advertising platforms, but they could change tomorrow. They could disappear tomorrow. But if you have your own house in order first, it's a great place to build off of. So I really, really like that a lot. You talked about brand, and I don't want it to skim by because I think that's really important. So when you're talking to your clients, in a lot of ways, they have a service that for most people would think there's no delineation from one to the other. So when you're talking to them, how do you explain to me how you explain to your clients what brand is, or a brand promise, or how do I stand out in a market when there's other people who do similar services?
Yeah. So, I would say really your brand is, it isn't what you say about yourself. Your brand is what other people say about you. Mm-hmm. So, I could have the best looking logo made. I could get all my service vehicles wrapped and have the nicest looking website, but really just do a poor job with customer service and the actual trade side of HVAC or plumbing. And those customers are going to say, wow, Eric really sucks. He's a terrible service technician. And that's my brand now. It's like, oh, that guy with the nice fans, like they're bad. That's your brand. So I think when we're talking about brand, we need to first understand who your ideal customer is. I think that a lot of people try to just service as many people as possible because I think that's how I'll make the most money.
Right.
But I think it's important to understand who your ideal customer is really, and that's not something that a lot of people like to hear because that requires a lot of work and research. But I think that the people that truly get that, they have the strongest brand, because if they know we're going after homeowners between the ages of 50 and 65 who have expensible income and can afford a $12,000 HVAC system, then they will always be happy with what I have to offer. And then that couple is going to tell the whole world, hey, all of my friends on Facebook who are also probably 50 to 65, Eric is awesome. We loved our service with him. You should contact him for your service too. And now your brand is the company that this demographic, which is your ideal customer, is telling the whole world about.
Right. See, I think that's, again, really tactical, wonderful points. We had someone on a few episodes ago, Adrian Barnes, who focused on exactly that, helping companies figure out that buyer persona. Who is that right person? And I agree with you. I think when we start out our businesses, or even some businesses that are, I would say, more long tenured, been around for a while, they still think they can serve everybody. And that's a problem because you're not delivering the value or the service to the person who's going to be receptive. To your point, if I'm a new homeowner, that you come in and you're telling me it's going to be this price, It could be, well, no, or they're expecting for that price, I'm going to get some type of different service. So it's really important. And what I love is you're talking about it from the experience of HVAC, but folks, this applies to any business, understanding who your market is, who is your ideal customer, and then providing that value, because if you do that, then they're going to be your advocates for referrals.
Yeah. And I mean, we've even experienced this on, at our agency side with our first and so far only, knock on wood, nightmare client. We thought we only work with HVAC contractors. That's the only people we serve. That's who we thought our ideal customer was. So we started, selling services and getting people signed up for websites and all this. Well, someone came along and clearly wasn't the right fit, and he ended up being a nightmare, and it went terribly, and that we lost him as a client. We actually ended up, gladly, parting ways with this person because it was just not a good fit for either parties. But that made us realize, okay, this actually applies to us as well. We're not just servicing this industry in particular. Like, we need to look for very particular individual who we can go after.
Yeah. And I think, again, we have a tendency to forget that, or we start believing our expertise that we can make up for that. Now, again, if you want to move into a different industry vertical, a different segment of the market, well, then you need to do that due diligence to work and say, okay, how is this group different than that group? What can we take from that's been successful over here and apply it over here? But more importantly, what do we have to change about that, or else that is going to be very disconnected, and all it takes is one powerful customer with a lot of voice to really wreck especially if you're focused in a certain geographic area that you're serving, it can really do damage to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So let me ask you this. So again, I want to work down this brand thing, because I think a lot of people misunderstand what it is. When you're looking to help your client build a brand or a brand promise, what are you trying to get from them? Like, what should they be telling you? And where do you see them making a mistake or bringing the wrong thing to the table about brand? What exactly are we looking for when we talk about that?
Yeah, I think the mistake that a lot of folks make when you're trying to establish your ideal customer profile or your brand is they think about it from a monetary standpoint. I'll ask them, if you've had one customer that you could just sign up and have be your customer 100 to 1,000 times over and over again, who would that one person be? And they immediately think, oh, it's that one person that gave me, $15,000. That would be it, because they would give me that same amount of money over and over again. Right. But it's like, no. Who's the person? Not the checkbook or how much money they spent, like the personality type, their, the area they lived in, what they did for fun, what are their hobbies, what does that person look like? And so I think that's the thing that a lot of people, they kind of lose sight over. It's like, you need to find out who they are exactly. But then when it comes to finding that brand promise, I think it really comes down to just one, and I know this is kind of more of a broad answer, but like, what are your core values as a company? I think that can help you identify, one, what you're going after as a company, who you hire, who you fire, who you accept work from, and who you turn work down from. Is based on your core beliefs. And so I think you need to establish those first, and then from there, just be, that's the bedrock of every decision that you make.
Right. And I think, and I love that, because it's starting out with who you are and what your company stands for. And then from our clients, because we work a lot in the automotive space. So again, that's even more of a commodity in a lot of ways, where we work with our clients to understand exactly that, and then help them say, well, what's different about you? Why should I do business with you? What's your process? I think for even what I'm hearing from you is what you're trying to get them to say is, okay, if I have 3 people who could provide that HVAC system or whatever product someone is going to be marketing, why should I pick you versus them? Don't talk to me about the product. The product is the product, right? What do I have to do? What's my process? How am I going to take care of you? What's my follow-up? Here's how it's going to interact. I think that a lot of businesses don't think is the right message, but what's your opinion? I mean, is that something that you really work with your people to help them stand out in the market through that? Or do you find pushback on that where they go, no, it's about the price and it's about the actual quality of the product I'm using?
Yeah, I think I get it both. We get the ones that push back on it, and then we get the ones that embrace it, and the ones that have more success are the ones that embrace that. The ones that say, what is your experience, your customer experience like? Would your customer be willing to spend $4,000 more than they would for the next guy or the next company or whoever else is out there bidding for work? Would your customer gladly give you a significant amount more in regards to how much it costs because your promise and your experience is that much better? And if it is, what is that experience? You need to define that, and then that needs to be, that needs to be on your website. That needs to be on your vans. That needs to be on all your printed material, no matter, whatever it may be. Selling cars in the digital age, like that could be it. Or the power of connected marketing. I'm just reading the things behind you. Right. Establish what that is. Breathe easy. We're here to help. We're not comfortable until you're comfortable. Stuff like that. What is your promise to the homeowner that makes them willing to pay you for your service?
Right. And I love that because I think you're right. There are people that are going to fight that, but those who embrace it and deliver on it, because to your point is I could say, breathe easy. Like you said, breathe easier. We're not comfortable till you're comfortable. What does that actually mean? How do I do that? What do we do? I worked in hospitality for years, and that's what our owners of restaurants used to always say is that, well, that sounds great, but what are we going to do while that customer is here? So when they leave, they go, that was a great experience. That was wonderful. And we have to repeat that. So to your point, you're saying that could be a marketing phrase, but if I don't know how to deliver on that, and then to your point, if somebody says it's not about the price, yeah, it was a little bit more, but they said it was going to be 2 weeks. It was less than 2 weeks. They said that they were going to do X. They did X. They took care of, when they came in the house, they made sure nothing got ruined and cleaned and however that process is to deliver that experience. So someone goes, wow, that was great. And then they recommend it. But notice what they're recommending is the experience of how you did your business. They're not recommending, hey, it's $4,000 more. They're telling you, if you need this, these are people who take care of it quick, easy, like to your point. When they say they want you to be comfortable, they really mean it. I love that. I love that.
And it goes for any industry, digital marketing and website design. I can make a nice website. Our competitors can make nice websites. We can, whatever, maybe you can help someone sell a car, but I'm sure there's another agency that can help them sell cars. But what's going to make you different isn't, who builds the custom WordPress website versus the one that's got a pre-built framework. Right. It's who delivers the better experience to that customer, where they're saying, okay, they told me it would take 6 weeks for this project. They got it done in 6 or quicker. They told me X and they delivered X, and they were responsive to everything just like they promised. I had an account manager that was responsive. We had quick turnaround times on our change requests. There wasn't a bunch of kickback. And so that's really what will set you apart from whoever else is offering the same service, is just to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, it's very funny you said that about be responsive. We had a few clients recently who came to us and they said, that's all I was looking for. Somebody to answer the phone when I called, somebody to handle the problem for me versus saying, oh, well, here's the email you have to call, or here's the number that you, customer, have to call, versus, no, I'll take care of it. I think that's really important. I think customer experience is becoming more a differentiator and being able to make you stand out in the marketplace even more because, one, there's so many people doing things now. You're being bombarded with marketing, advertising, claims. So we're really looking for, one, understanding that experience and why I should do business with you, and then more important, verification or validation through reviews that, yeah, you're doing this. So let's pivot on that. So we've set this brand promise and you've worked with your clients to say, hey, man, I hope you're delivering on this. How important in your mind are reviews and validation and having a consistent process for your clients? Is that a conversation that you're having with them to make sure they're getting these testimonials and these reviews?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's even become, I would say, so much so an important factor of their overall digital marketing that we went out and found a review solicitation offering to be able to say, hey, we believe in the power of getting these reviews so much that we're going to help you get more of them.
Right.
And we're paying, for a white label license to be able to offer this, because those reviews are, they are absolutely invaluable. I think they say the average shopper, be it e-commerce or home services or automotive, they're going to read at least 7 reviews on average before they make a decision. And so you got to make sure you have a healthy mix of reviews in there. Even, and I don't think it's a bad thing to have a couple bad ones either. But you got to have some reviews, more than just, 4 or 5. Like, I think a good, for HVAC, we try to get them to at least 500 before we say that, like, they have a good amount of reviews. Because, right. The average, a good HVAC, our ideal client in regards to that, like our ideal client as an HVAC contractor is servicing about 2,500 homes a year. There's no reason why they can't get at least 500 reviews a year out of that 2,500. And most of the time it's just because their technicians aren't asking. And that's the thing. And why don't people ask? It's just because it's an awkward conversation. You've already asked them for money, and now you're asking them again for a review. But it's, it needs to be done because they're very, they're vital, I think, to growing your business.
I agree. And I think there's two, and in addition to that, I think you touched on it earlier, there's the fear of the negative review. But to your point is, one, we coach our clients that a negative review is not a bad thing. Answer it. Make sure, don't leave it hanging out there. Respond to the review. Don't get into an argument, respond to them in kind of just saying, sorry, this happened. Please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about it. Because then the person who sees that there was a problem sees that you're responding to it. Mm-hmm. Because we also know if you had, I don't know about you, but if I see something like online and there's 500 reviews and they're all 5 stars, I go, wait a minute. They're not everybody's happy. So I think it is this idea of consistency of getting reviews. And to your point is, if I have 2,500, there's no reason where you say, listen, even if I got 10%, that's 250 spread over the course. Every month I got 20 people to give me a review. Great. And to your point, it's building that process to ask. But I agree. I can market till we both could market for our clients till we're blue in the face, but it's marketing unless we have customers going, no, they really did this and it was really great.
Yeah. I think even more powerful than the Google review is a video testimonial.
Oh, yes.
That's something that we've began doing for some of our clients that we are, in arm's reach of locally, is we'll find a customer that will leave a glowing 6-paragraph review about, how they're allergic to this and their cat's got this and they, the company came in and saved the day and now our allergies are gone and, grandma's happy and all this stuff. Well, we'll reach out to that customer and say, hey, like, clearly this person is just over the moon, so excited. Like, let's offer them a discount on their next service or something for a video testimonial, and then just have them share that, put that on Facebook and YouTube and embed it on the website and send it to the whole world, because that's even more powerful. If you can say, hey, this is Betty from X, Y, and Z neighborhood in this, in the Detroit area, and I love Glenn's Heating and Air. They're the best company ever. And now their neighbors can be like, oh, wow, this person had such a great experience. They saved, the cat's life and did all this stuff. And it will just help you with delivering. It's third-party validation for your brand promise, really, is what it is.
Yeah, but it has emotion. And listen, for those of you listening, we're getting some really great tactical tips and also understanding why there's hesitation. So if you're in charge of a team or you have your own business, understand that there's going to be pushback sometimes from your sales team or your frontline people, or even yourself feeling that I have to ask. But it should be part of your process to always ask, because you need it to validate. You need it for the marketing. And if you can get a few of those video testimonials sprinkled in, those are, I call the unicorns. Those are phenomenal because they just are this gold standard where I can see the emotion, where I can see someone who looks like me when I'm scrolling through the website and I see this. So good. So let's pivot a little bit more. I want to talk to you a little bit about your journey, because, you are now a business owner yourself. So what was the thought plan, or what was the jump off point, or what was the decision for you to all of a sudden go from working with people to say, I want to do it myself?
Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to do it myself and have my own company. I was in college and I was, hustling off websites on the side. Even in the middle of class, I was sitting there making websites for people. And it was funny. I was sitting there, the professors were teaching us about marketing and all this stuff. And I'm over here making money doing marketing while I'm listening to them, while I'm paying them to teach me, I'm making money doing it. It was kind of funny in hindsight, but that's kind of where it all started. And then got out of college, I went and worked for a massive corporation in Kentucky, and was just making websites, doing SEO, stuff like that. And then I left there to move to Virginia and took a job with a large home services franchise, which got acquired. So I was an employee of one. It got acquired by a bigger company, and then became once again an employee of a large corporation. And again, doing website operation stuff, SEOs, all that good stuff. The entire time I'm moonlighting, making websites on the side, doing stuff after work. And I was like, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed working at that home services company, because it was like, I enjoyed the trades. I enjoyed helping these small business owners get new business. It was a joy when I would help them optimize their website, and then people would find the website and then pay them money for their service. And they would be like, wow, we got, we got 24 new customers this month. That was so awesome. Thank you. And that's when I was like, this is actually a lot of fun, and it's enjoyable. It is rewarding to help these small business owners get new business and grow their dream. And then I was realizing, I was like, I'm helping all these other people with their dream. I was like, I never really kind of helped myself with the dream. So at that time, while I was working there, I was kind of on the side. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start my own marketing agency. Well, then a small virus hit the world. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. And I was like, oh no, there's this virus thing going on that's going to shut down the entire economy. Everything's going to crash and burn. And then our company was like, hey, they had to lay a few people off. I made the cut, thankfully. Then they were like, there's just a lot of unknown at first with COVID. And a lot of companies were like, hey, we're going to just, as a precautionary measure, we're going to peel back a few things just to make sure that our overhead expenses are, as low as possible. Yep. And I was like, okay, I need to find something else before, because I was no one knew what was going on. I was like, I need to leave. I'm going to get fired and I'm going to have no job. And so I found another job at a real estate company in the area, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to go do this, because that they're actively hiring, because real estate was booming during COVID. And I was like, they're not going to go out of business anytime soon. So like, I'm doing that. Went and did that. And I was like, about 3 months into that, I was like, this is not helping me progress towards what I want to do. So that's when I met a couple of my business partners on Facebook. And they were like, hey, we're niching down our agency and looking to have referral partners and stuff too. And I was like, I will gladly take any referrals I can get. And then met with them. And so then we started Rival Digital, and here we are today. So it kind of brought back the desire I had to help small business owners, because I was like, I'm getting back into home services because I really, really enjoyed that. So that was definitely a great move, I think, there to help that industry. And it's a recession-proof industry. So, everyone's always going to need home service professionals. So it's a good industry to be in.
So what I loved hearing about this is that it seems like you've always had that entrepreneurial bent somewhere, and even though you were working, but something else just popped while you were talking. It was the joy or the excitement that you had when you were talking about working for other small businesses versus the larger company. So I want to just, is it that there's different marketing if you're working for a large, even if it's a large home services company where it's very corporate or large, versus someone small? Was it the fact that the marketing was different, or the branding was different, or the tactics were different? Or was it just that you saw the result of your efforts working with small people versus I'm in corporate and I never really see the people we're working with? What just trying to figure out if it's where the difference was.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. The difference is when you're working with a small, medium-sized business, it's like you are helping what feels like a real human being achieve their dreams. You're working with the person who left their job and started a business and has a wife and 2 kids, or a husband and a couple kids, and they have a family, and you can, they'll pay you X amount of dollars and you will put your best foot forward for them. And then you see them get $80,000 in return, and they're just like, wow, this is so great. I can hire someone. I can grow my business. And it's like you're helping a real person, versus when I was at, a large corporation. While I did learn a lot of great stuff there, it was like, cool. We set up this ad campaign, or we optimized this page, and they made $2.1 billion this week. And it's like, all right, what's next? It was just kind of churning projects and just doing things. And you never see the outcome or the result of your efforts. The task was complete, and that was it. And so that's why I really enjoyed the small business side a lot more.
See, I really respect that and get excited about that, because working in a large corporation, you're getting your wins by the results of your campaigns. And that's not to say one's right or one's wrong, but you may not see that benefit. But working in with small businesses, seeing that impact, feeling that you're really part of that organization and hearing what's working and seeing it more at a personal level really seems to be more fulfilling. And so again, for those of you running businesses, or you're working with small to mid-sized businesses, this is a great thing to remember, that your efforts do have an impact, and you are involved. It isn't just, here's your campaign, I did my job. I think it's really being part of that. And you could just hear it in your voice, how exciting it was to get back into this, to see that effort. It's really, so flip it then. Marketing for yourself, growing your own company. Are there people on your team and you're treating yourself like a client? Is it all yours? How does that work when you sort of, do your own marketing to try and see that? Do you have that excitement for yourself?
Yeah, it's a lot different, because, for our clients, we're taking a B2C approach, helping, the HVAC company reach homeowners. And then for us, I'm taking the B2B approach where I'm helping me reach HVAC companies.
Right.
And so it is a much different approach. And, it's very interesting because, for an HVAC customer, getting 25 leads in a month, like that's exciting. Wow, we got 25 leads this month. Well, for me, it's like getting 1 or 2 leads a month. I'm just like, wow, that's awesome. We got, our goal is to get no more than 2 new clients a month, just so we can kind of schedule our growth. But to get a couple leads here and there, I'm just like, wow, that was awesome. And it is a much more different approach. I'm not going out there saying $79.99 websites and $500 off this and that, like not sending promotions off of the world. I'm creating a podcast and I'm writing long form blog articles and I'm putting out value into the world and hoping that someone reads it and says, when the time's right, oh, I remember Eric, he wrote that blog article about social media and they seem pretty legit. And that's usually, to be honest, that's about 98% of our leads we get, is people who say, hey, I listened to your podcast and I need a website or I need help with my Facebook page.
Well, that's a smart way. And I think even for what you're saying, it's a great reminder, even for your clients, right? We tell our clients, what are you doing to help make yourself be seen as the expert in your field? It could be anything. It could be a restaurant. Well, how are you the best at this? Or if you're, in your case, HVAC marketing, well, how are you? Well, here's how I'm an expert. I'm explaining and giving you information. And everyone's going to say that's useful. To someone who is the HVAC provider, how are you putting out content into the world? So someone says, oh, I saw that. I went to their website. They have great information. They're helping me understand this versus, to your point, $17.99, $5.99. Then it becomes so transactional versus, well, you're the expert who's going to take care of everything for me. That hopefully is the first connection point, not $17.99, because then it's transactional versus relationship, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, and I think that's really in B2B marketing. I'm sure that, the marketers listening to this have heard of demand generation, but that's absolutely, I think, the future of B2B marketing. I think lead generation is it's kind of seen its days in the B2B world, especially with a lot of these updates coming out with iOS and data privacy and whatnot. I mean, we've run Google ads and wasted $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 in Google ads and didn't get a single lead. Record 30-minute podcasts once a week and got 78% of our new business from it. So I think demand generation is where it's at.
Yeah, I agree. I look back and we built our company based off of that way back pre, Clubhouse, or really before podcasts hit, was being on the forums and having conversations or speaking at events or writing blogs or writing for the industry magazines, because they're always looking for content, where all of a sudden you see people saying, well, I've read your articles, or I've followed you and I've read your content for years and I love what you're talking about. And then they go, oh, that's who I should talk about when I have this problem. So it, again, for those of you running businesses out there, right, understand what we're talking about, creating a podcast, creating articles, long form, short form. If the industry that you're going after or serving, is there a conference where you could go speak or attend, or a trade show, or are there local associations that you could be there, or, Chamber of Commerce? I think all of that in your town, does everyone know what you do and that you are the expert? And how are you putting out content to market your own business so that you can connect with people who are looking for that and they're reading all of this? And if your purpose is to help educate and help them solve their problem, then they're going to come to you when they have that problem and say, oh, I've read his stuff. I've listened to his stuff. I try. At least you're on the list of consideration.
Absolutely.
And really, that's really the key. If I can be on your consideration set, then we're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So so as we wrap up, when you say things like that to your clients, right, an HVAC company in your instance, saying you should create video or you should create content or you should have a blog on your website, again, are they receptive? Do they think you're crazy? What do you see out there in terms of willingness to embrace this idea of creating content about what they do?
Yeah, I think some of them are receptive. Some of them, so that there's obviously the 4 P's of marketing that they teach you in school, but I really think that there's now a 5th P, which kind of stands for like personality, or like a person that is the face of your brand. Like, I think if it's not going to be you as the owner, then find someone in your office who can be the personality of your company on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you need to, you can go hire a part-time like community marketer.
Right.
That's a new position I'm seeing a lot of small businesses hire, as a community manager or a community marketer, a part-time person or full-time, depending on how involved you want to be, who is, their job is to get out into the community and be the face of your company and say, I am here with Glenn's Heating and Air. We are running our fall furnace tune-up right now, and we are here to help you live more comfortably in your home. And shake hands and get on Facebook Live and say, hey guys, we're giving away a grill this week, and get on and say, hey, this is Lindsay, the technician, and she's here to help you with all your plumbing. And that's really what it's got to be, I think. And so it can either be you as the owner, if you're willing to take the time and get in front of the camera. But I think it's definitely something that more business owners should look into.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that idea for creating either community manager, but getting a face. I could not agree with you more, of recognition of that person's face and creating content. We've been very successful with some of our clients creating content that answers the questions that somebody would ask. Like, how often do I need to change the filters in my air conditioner? Why do I need to winterize? Why do I have to do this? What's the difference between this and this? So even simple things like going to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever and say, there's all these different filters. What do I need, and why are there so many different ones? We tend in our whatever our industry is to take everything for granted. But if you actually did things like that, you would be seen as the expert because you're trying to help someone. And I would guarantee you, if somebody was sitting there saying, well, I don't know what to make, what are the top 5 questions people ask you when they're calling you up about an HVAC? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, great. Write an answer to that. Film a video to that. Put that on your website. And then you're right. Now, all of a sudden, there's content for the community manager to push out. It feels like you're not selling anything. They'll come to you because they're going to say, well, thank you for that answer. How much is that going to cost me? And now we've brought them in. But to your point is, you've brought them in not on a sale. You've brought them in because you're the expert. And I really, really love that. I really love that take on Mark. Like I said, I couldn't agree. We're very aligned in that same approach.
Yeah. And there's a lot of national brands and global brands that have done this really well, like Flow from Progressive. Progressive is, auto insurance or, insurance in general, but they don't get on there and say, we're Progressive and we do this and we're the best. No, they have this quirky lady named Flo who is like, when you think of Progressive, you think of Flo. You think of that silly, I'm not even sure what her position would technically be there, but you think of this funny person who is on all their commercials, and that's how you remember what they do. Same with Lily from AT&T. They're kind of following suit. And I think that's something that we're.
But to your point is, if you really, and for those of you listening, next time you see, because I love this thing, next time you see Flo or next time you see Lily from AT&T, listen to what the commercial's about, because it's solving someone's problem. So they're answering someone's question. There is the one I always like, Flo, they're supposedly on the beach and they're relaxing, saying, we're not going to talk about work. They hear two people talking about bundling their insurance. I wish I could. I don't know. How could you do that? It's all confusing. And she comes over to solve the problem. That's what we're talking about. So if you have your face of, Glenn's Heating, well, what are questions that you can ask? And then you can have either someone ask the question, or you could just create things going, hey, here's a question of the week on Facebook. Question from one of our customers asked, why do I need to do XXX? Here's what we do. We've done that in automotive in the service drive a lot, because people will say, why do I have to change my oil? Or, well, why do I have to do this? Or why do I have to rotate my tires? Or very similar things. What's the difference between why should I lease versus finance a car? Or how putting down a down payment, how does that affect? Like things that in the industry we go, well, everyone knows that. Reality is most people don't know that. But if you're out there explaining it, you also take away a little bit of power from your competitors, because you've given your customers or potential customers questions to ask your competitors that your competitors may not answer. And then they go, oh, well, you didn't answer that, but Glenn's trustworthy because of that. But see, I love this tactical content, all focused to generate conversations versus it's all about price. I really love that. And I think that's really important, especially as a small business.
Yeah, there's a book by Marcus Sheridan. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. Sure. It's called They Ask, You Answer. And if you're listening to this, I definitely recommend adding that to your reading list. It does exactly what you're just saying. Like Marcus, for those who don't know the story, I guess he was doing marketing for a pool company. And pretty much he choked out all of his competitors by going online and answering the questions that people were typically saying you'd had to, schedule a consultation to get the answer to, or give us your contact information. He was going on the website and saying, this pool cost exactly this much money, installed full price, here it is. And, this feature is this, and this is why it's like that. And here's our, and just gave the answers away to every question they've ever gotten about their service. And they grew exponentially because of it. And you're right, it gives the shopper or the customer ammunition to go next door and say, how much is your maintenance plan? Because over here it's $79, and what's included with your maintenance plan? Exactly. That would be a good one. Glenn's Heating and Air follows a 16-point checklist. What's included in your maintenance plan?
Exactly. It's transparency of saying I have nothing to hide. And if somebody if somebody else is going to give the exact same thing for a different price, okay, that's fine. But the mere fact that I was willing and they weren't until that you asked them, and then they begrudgingly gave you that. I think, again, it's a longer term play to be in the market to say, I'm here to solve your problems. I'm going to see you. One of my previous guests, his name was Dusty Sutherland. There was a gentleman in his automotive dealership, Clinton Becker. He created this whole relationship marketing concept for all of them, where he went out and did exactly that, answered questions, made videos. But he said, listen, when I sell someone a car, I have to remember I'm going to see him in church. I'm going to see him at the supermarket. I'm going to see him at Little League, right? So if I take advantage of them, if I have to hide my dealership shirt or logo or my own face when I see someone, then I'm not doing business correctly. And I think, to your point, is the more that you could be putting out marketing or content where you're seen as helpful, there's no way that you're not going to gain business in your market and seen as the trustworthy person. Now, again, you have to deliver on it, but if you're willing to deliver on it, then why wouldn't somebody? Then that cycle of what you've been talking about is coming up with the brand, delivering on the brand, marketing the brand, and then marketing the testimonial. That seems like that's the cocktail for success, especially for businesses starting off.
Absolutely. Yep, I completely agree.
Great. Well, listen, I love chatting with you. I could chat with you because our brains are very aligned. So before we wrap up, at the end of every episode, I ask a few questions. I call them the one, which is just, whatever one thing pops into your head, answer. So the first one, now you mentioned Marcus Sheridan's book. One of my questions always is, what are you reading right now, watching right now, or listening to that's inspiring you that you would recommend to the audience? And we'll put it in the show notes along with Marcus's book. But what else are you doing right now that's going, I think people should listen to this or read this?
Yeah, so we're currently reading Traction by Gino Wickman.
Yes, great book.
The founder of the EOS Entrepreneurial Operating System. We were at a trade show in the fall, and Gino was the keynote, and everyone in attendance got a signed copy. And so the leadership team is currently doing that. We're holding our was it like level 10 meeting or whatever it is, and we're reading through that book together. So that's what I'm reading right now. Definitely recommend that book, especially if you're at the point where your business is set up and you have some systems in place and you're looking to really grow it. Right. I think that's a great book because it's called Traction. Getting a grip on your business and gaining traction for your business is really something that I would recommend that book for sure.
Great. Yeah, I've read that book. Someone gave that to me for a Christmas present maybe a year or two ago, and it was really, really a wonderful book. Okay. Once this COVID thing hopefully disappears or whatever, from a travel perspective, one place in the world you'd like to visit that you haven't been to yet?
Oh, I would love to go out west, like somewhere, maybe not LA, but somewhere maybe in California. I guess Hollywood is technically a little bit part of LA, but never been to California. I would love to go to California. There's a lot of other places in the world I'd like to go to, like Utah, to go hiking, where I probably could go because they're not, highly populated areas. Right. And it's all outdoors. But I think in regards to places that COVID have kind of, struck a line through as a no-go for now is out in California. I'd love to go out there, like Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and
San Diego,
check it out.
Too.
San Diego? Okay.
San Diego, I just took my son out there to look at a college, and, it's basically 70 degrees, beautiful, low humidity, probably 300 out of 365 days. So wow. It's, pretty wonderful. All right. If I took all your close friends, business associates, people who really know you, and put them in a room and asked them to describe you in one word, what would the one word be they would use to describe you?
I'd hope they'd say like charismatic, but they'd probably say funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. I'm a jokester, so I got lots of jokes.
we like jokesters. So last question. We've talked about a lot of things and just some really great tactical comments and input and things that people can take away. But there's a lot of them. So if I said to you, what's the one thing that you hope the audience would take away to help them with their business or with their marketing or what's the one thing you would hope they would walk away with?
Don't build your house on rented land. Build your email list, own your website, own what you can own, and focus on that first.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I remember talking about that with our team, that for a time we used to post a lot of articles on LinkedIn. And then I said, well, let's put them on our website first. And then maybe a week or two later, we'll put them on there. And, we can always put first shown on this. But, what happens if you put all of your content on that platform, all of your articles, all of your blogs, and all of a sudden it all disappeared? Where did it go? It should all drive to your own house. So I really love that. So listen, thank you so much for being here. This has been a really fun conversation. I love these because time just flies. And we're like, whoa, how did that? We just went through this all day. So tell everyone how they can connect with you online, either social media, your website, where if people want to learn more about the agency, but also connect with you if they have questions, where would they go?
Yeah, so our website is rivaldigital.com. There's a page on there. If you go to meet the team, you can get my contact information and my LinkedIn there. If you Google search Eric Thomas, I'm on page 500 because there's a really famous inspirational speaker named Eric Thomas. So don't bother trying to find me on Google or LinkedIn that way. I would just say go to rivaldigital.com. then go to meet the team and get my LinkedIn and stuff there. But my email is eric@rivaldigital.com. So if you have any questions at all, I'd love to connect with anyone listening and chat.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate that. Again, thank you so much for taking time. This was really beneficial for the audience. Yeah. So audience, you know the drill. At the end of every episode, please don't forget to subscribe over on Apple, or if you're an Android user on Spotify or wherever else you listen, you can find the podcast. Also, you can jump over to the YouTube channel and watch our conversation as well. I know there's a lot of places for you to consume content. The fact that you spent time with Eric and myself today means the world. Please don't forget to share this out. I'm sure there's a lot of people that could benefit from what Eric just shared. And as always, I appreciate the attention. I look forward to seeing you again. And as I say at the end of every episode, you're in charge. When you feel like you're saying, now what? Now what do I do next? Well, we're here weekly with tips and strategies, myself or my guests, to help you become better, both professionally and personally. So I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And thanks again, Eric. See you soon.
Thank you.